This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time.
He's got the left side. Dobbs is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Yes, even the IRS can help today by buying an $18.99 bag of coffee to ensure that coffee drinkers of America are filing their taxes properly and that Isaac doesn't have to come and arrest them. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ken and Ken in the morning. Good morning, Brent. Good morning, the broski with the moski.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, we have breaking news, though.
Sarah.
Joe Flacco signed. So now I don't know who's going to be our backup.
Where'd Flacco go?
Browns. Signed with the Browns for I think it was like a $4 million deal, but shit, I'll take Flacco if I was the Browns.
Cleveland has two. Now Cleveland has two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks.
So what you're saying is they have more Super Bowl wins on their bench than Detroit has in their history.
Man, Detroit, man, they're going through it right now. Like there's they automatically assume Ben Johnson's gonna fall flat on his face. Like even though they're calling him God last year and the last 2 years. And it's just funny. It's just funny how much they're dragging him through the mud when he brought them nothing but joy for years.
Yeah. Good morning, Nicholas. Hope you're having a good one.
What's up, Nicholas?
Yeah, I mean, Flacco, dude, you gotta like the dude, right? Oh my God, everyone's coming in this morning. I heard another beep. Oh, we got the broski with the moski.
What's up, everybody?
Flacco, here's a dude. Good morning, broski. Here's a dude who is literally on the couch. I'm retired. Right? And then what now? We like 3 years ago now, right? Oh my God, we have an injury. Call up Flacco, see if he'll come for a playoff push. He does. He does well for the Browns. They go to the playoffs. And now he's just like every year, it's like, go back to the couch. Oh, hey, you want $8 million? Well, I guess the couch can wait another year. I mean, that's like Flacco's process, right? It's like, yeah, I guess it might be time to go to the couch. Hey, Joe, hey, this is Indy. We got $10 million. You want it? Yeah, I could swing by for a few. All right. Hey, where did he sign last year? Where was he last year?
Colts.
Was that the Colts last year? Yeah. And I was this year. It's like, hey, Cleveland's like, I guess I'll go back to couch. I mean, there's some good documentaries I can catch up on. Hey, Joe, we got like a few million extra laying around. You want it? Sure, I can swing by for a few. I mean, that's like Flacco's like, he's just like.
The best part of all this with Cleveland signing both of these quarterbacks is that it almost seems like they're paying Deshaun Watson not to step foot in the stadium again.
Why? Who did they sign?
I wanted Flacco, though. I'm a
Yeah,
bit
but you
disappointed.
said these quarterbacks. So who else did Cleveland sign?
They signed Pickett there too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And actually,
What's crazy?
Pickett could be more their future than anyone they got on the roster, to be honest with you.
What's crazy about Flacco when they signed fucking him off the couch for the Browns and he went off that playoff run is how accurate he still is. Like his accuracy's damn near off the charts.
If you're Flacco, you were looking at Dalton, who basically was the same thing. He had retired, right? After the Bears stint, he had retired. And then Dallas pulls him off the couch. And now it's the same thing for Dalton every year. Well, maybe I'll go hit the couch. Hey, it's Carolina. We got like 12 million. We'll make you a starter. Shit, why not? I got some time. I mean, Dalton retired 6 years ago.
It just shows like some quarterbacks just don't lose their accuracy and just how good they can become. You know what I mean? Even though they've lost a lot of their, athletic edge because of age, but they can still, just like an NBA player that's retired, he can still shoot a 3-pointer or possibly dunk. You know what I mean? It just, these players they don't lose their mental edge.
Well, I mean, it's
Okay. Well, hold on, Ken. Let me set the record straight before this all goes to fucking Meth Helmet just had too much. We actually had shit to do yesterday, so we decided to call it a mulligan day for yesterday's huddle. We will be on today, though.
All your fault, Ken.
Yeah, I was just gonna add.
Hey, if I got to pick between having a working vehicle and doing the show, I'm sorry, you guys are gonna lose every time.
Well, you don't work anywhere. You're retired, dude. You get to stay at home and yell at people and say, "Get off my lawn."
Yeah, I mean, I know I can, but I can also drive down the street too and bitch at people. That's my favorite part. Get off of his lawn and his lawn.
You gotta go to bingo.
You look like a good lawn gnome.
What do you want, Rose? He had something.
No, I was just gonna comment on like Flacco and everything. It just goes to show you there's a lot more to playing quarterback than physical attributes. I mean, you got guys who, you have to be a good quarterback to be able to play quarterback. So I mean, you'll always have these guys who it's just amazing. Oh, they're not athletic. They never were athletic, but at the age of 40, they can still step in and play after having a diet that consists of like Utz potato chips and Yingling lager for years. So
the funniest thing,
what's great, Mitch, is I didn't have to work on my own vehicle. I could bring mine to the shop.
Motown Mitch, the difference was Ken was working on his vehicle and he wasn't on at all. You claimed you were working on your vehicle, yet you were messaging us in the chat. So, I mean, come on now.
Well, when you look at Urlacher. Urlacher's another one. He retired. They said, "Well, we got $2 million for it." He's like, "My body requires 3 to go through it." I mean, then you get that aspect of it, right? Like Urlacher could have played another year or two, but he's like, $2 million, it's not worth it to me. But these quarterbacks, they're getting 8 to 10 mil to like stay unretired. And Mitch or Broski's right. Like their diet consists of Giordano's deep dish pizza, Italian beef, and beer. And all they have to do is stand there and sling the rock, and they can do it. They don't have to be, like super athletic anymore.
What's funny is when Dak Prescott was at his prime, and David Carr got invited to like some little outing that they had. They had this football set up, like these machines that just bring down a target, and if you hit them with the football, they go up. And there was 4 of them. And one at each, maybe from one that would measure like 20-yard line, 30-yard line, 40-yard line. And David Carr did not miss one. Dak missed like 3, and then he missed and finally hit the 4th one. I was like, damn, David Carr has been retired for how long? He just kills Dak Prescott just like that.
I find it funny, Motown Mitch, that you're calling me a liar when you were the one who came on here telling us in the chat that you can't come on because your car was broken. So, I mean, you had a phone to come on and put it in the chat, but you couldn't get on. So you're going to call me a liar even though you're the one who told us that?
Let me make this little argument simple. I mean, Mitch, as you can see, like Broski and Sarah, they have little icons that said their faces. You could have had an icon while you're wrenching on your car. We hear you wrenching, so we would have heard you. I'm just saying that at that point, the argument died. At that point, the argument died. Yeah.
That's it. Let's start a Mitch versus Sarah show.
Friday night, fight night. It is fight night.
Motown Mitch, you were there on Saturday night and you told us that, but it's the next day. Dude, quit lying and just admit that you don't have any guts to come on here. God damn.
Here's the thing.
Fight night's
What-
tomorrow.
What
There
is,
you go.
what is with Lions
The
fans?
preliminaries.
What is with Lions fans lately? And look, it's not all of them, like Orlando, for example, right? Joseph. I mean, there's some of these Lions fans, Nicholas, they're
Brant.
sitting going, guys, you're making the fan base look bad. Stop making us look like, I don't know, idiots. I mean, what is
You
up with
see my avatar picture, Mitch? That's the face I'm making at you and your lies.
I mean, look at honestly, I hate to say this, Isaac and Ken, but it's usually Packer fans who are just going, all right, guys, look, the 60s ended 50 years ago, right? That was 56 years ago. Let it go, let it go. Cue the Elsa music, right? It's usually Packer fans you're doing that with. But what is with Lions fans lately?
Crapped out.
Your mic's not working.
Oh, he'll get there. You had 2 good years, right? 2 good years. Great.
Ken, your mic's like.
Why all of a sudden the mental?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, just let it go. You'll listen to Elsa. Just let it go. You'll come back. I mean, Lions. You've had 2 good years. Why now all of a sudden do you have to, like, I don't know, delve into what used to be Packer territory, right? And I love my Packer fans. Don't get me wrong, but Packer fans are sitting there going, "Hey, usually we get to be the ones who act the fool and talk about history and this." And now the Lions fans have just like taken that whole narrative and ran with it. And it's like, dude, the other great narrative for Packer, but the numbers. Well, here's Mitch. The numbers. Yeah, but reality. And for at least Packer fans, I can get it because you had like 10, 15 years where the division was basically dog shit. So you got to, run wild on it, winning 9 to 10 games and saying, division champs again. What? Kind of like Joe Flacco coming off the couch, hey, this is the NFC North calling. Hey, do you want the division championship again? Because the rest of us suck. And the Packers are like, yeah, sure, why not? Now you got Detroit, has 2 good years, and they act like they're God's gift to football.
Like
Hey,
Mitch?
Nicholas, Ken wasn't talking about you. He actually said that you were one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Just in case you misunderstood.
Yeah, and guys, the mic thing over here isn't my mic. It's not. It's the internet company. They lie to you. Lies. They're like Lions fans. They promise a lot and they don't deliver.
Yeah, you know what it is about the Lions? They've held it in so much. They've been picked on, bullied. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Non-existent. All these
60 years?
shit talk groups. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen so many Lions fans join shit talk groups. Like, you know what I mean? That's against the North till now. You know what I mean? They've held
It's
it
like
in
that
so
nerdy
much.
kid that finally went to the gym and got
Yeah,
buffed.
yeah,
And now he's
exactly,
like
you know
gonna
what I
go.
mean?
He's gonna go find all the bullies that picked on him.
Right?
Detroit versus everybody. What up, though?
He took a couple steroids, you know what I mean? He's like, I'm gonna pick on the bully, but then they have no accolades to show for it. Winning 2 division, like Packers been there, done that. Bears been there, done that. Vikings been there, done that. Like, what is the Lions brought to the table other than 2 division championships?
I'll give it to them. It's a good first stop.
Yeah,
I mean, look, in the 80s and 90s, the division was good parity, earned the black and blue title really well. For the Packers want to forget the 80s. I get it. But the Lions were good. The Packers, emerged, right, in the 90s. The Lions were good. The Bears were kind of like, but they'd be okay here and there. Same with the Vikes. They'd be okay here and there. And then, like, we get into the 2000s, and the Bears had 2006, but really it was the Packers. And every so often, the Vikings or the Bears might win the division. And the Lions were like, well, one day, we'll get good again. Megatron's retiring. Oh, we're going to Sue didn't work out. Oh, he's going to man. Whatever. It's just like, I get their frustration levels they had. And the thing was, even within the North, we were like, come on, Lions, have a good year. And when they did have a good year, we were like, hey, this is great. The Lions are having a good year. They're competitive. Hey, maybe they'll do something. And we would even cheer for them if they, to snip the playoffs. And then they get to the playoffs that first year. We're like, hey, man, it's a year. Go for it, right? We were on the shows like, for the NFC Championship game. Normally, it'd be like, oh, fuck the Packers or fuck the Bears or fuck Vikings. But everyone's like, no. Go ahead and get yours, Detroit. Go ahead and get it. Get to the Super Bowl. We want to see you there. They lost. Okay, we were all sad. Dan Campbell had his
I wasn't sad though.
What? Dan Campbell had his press conference. He's like, we may never get here again. We're like, all right, well, hey, they had a good run. Let's see what they do next year. And then Lions fans opened their mouths. And I was like, well, fuck. There goes all the goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't doubt the organization deserves like all the good luck now. You know what I mean? They've been down in the shitter for so damn long. You know what I mean? But the fans is what makes it the worst. This yapping when you haven't done anything, it just makes you look bad. It doesn't make you look good.
Jim, you're acting like the last time any of us won the division was in the 80s. That's how delusional you are.
Look, if you look at look at the Bears and Packers. If you look at the banners that we hang our championships. Like Bears have 9, Packers have 13. Fucking Lions fucking hang their division championships.
I mean, to be fair with it, it's the first thing they've gotten to really celebrate in a long time.
Oh, it gets even worse.
Oh, God.
They brought these down, but they put up 2 banners that said they made the playoffs. That's horrible.
So wait, this is how bad our division is. I've been making the argument for the 80s. Well, Sarah and I were talking this morning. We took it back to the 70s. Okay. Since 1970, when most people on here or in the comments were born, there aren't many people watching the show who were born pre-1970. Okay. So in our lifetimes, fair enough argument, in our lifetimes, the NFC North has been to a grand total of 9 Super Bowls. So in about 55 years, 9 Super Bowls. We've won 3 of those. We are 3-6 in the Super Bowl. Thank you, Minnesota, for going 0-4.
Yeah, Minnesota.
And of the 3 victories, 2 are Green Bay, 1 is Chicago. Detroit has made none. They're the only team who's not even made it to a Super Bowl. That's in our lifetimes. No one in this division has anything to talk about.
Yeah, but Jim was saying that you guys haven't been to a Super Bowl since the 80s. The Packers won the Super Bowl in 2010. So,
Well, no, we were there in 06. Yeah, we went in 06.
Yeah, they just didn't win it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Rex
like,
Grossman.
the Packers won the Super Bowl in the 2000s. So I mean, I don't I don't understand this. Like, oh, none of you guys have won anything since the 80s. Like, dude, you haven't even won anything. Period.
Look, even though the Vikings didn't win a Super Bowl, at least they went there 4 times. You know what I mean? Like Lions have not been there, and they've been around since 1934, actually 1928 if you count them as the Plymouth team.
We're
You know
the
what I mean?
youngest team in the division.
Hey, real quick, Nicholas, I went in there this morning, but actually, let me give you a quick segue here. I said good morning in there, but then now they're talking about Hope, and if you can hit me up about what's going on with Hope. So Hope's been on the show, guys. She's made comments. She suffers from PTSD, and there's some stuff going on with Hope. So Nick, let me know how she's doing. But they were talking about it, and I'm a little miffed at them because they made a little light of her PTSD, like, oh, well, she's got PTSD, so she'll be okay, kind of stuff, and that didn't make me happy. So after I said good morning in there, I kind of didn't comment in the chat anymore. I don't like when people make light of PTSD, period. Sorry for that segue, guys, but I had to do it. Look, the division, the division sucks for Super Bowls, right? And what I don't get, like with I get Lions fans don't. They, like we said yesterday, they're not accustomed to this. Joe's like, look, they're snake bit. Maybe I kind of agree with Joe. Maybe they are a little snake bit. At some time they got to break that curse, right? Every team does it. But yeah, she's not a veteran, but yeah, yes, you're right. You're right there, JB. Um, the Lions haven't been relevant in 30 years, and now they're relevant, which I think is great for the division because War Weeks are going to be fun. Like this year, like War Week, dude, every week's going to be a good game. I mean, I really don't see any bad games in this division. All these teams are good. Yeah, they've all got their issues. New coaching staffs, quarterback questions in a couple places. They've all got questions, and all teams should have questions. There's not a single team in this league that doesn't have a question. This is a
I
good.
think the other thing too is like, I mean, maybe the North, one day will once again, reach a Super Bowl and win one. But like the thing is about a lot of these players now that they have control of their contracts and understand the business more, they're going more to warm weather cities, you know what I mean, than to cold weather cities. Because just the thought of attraction, like places like Florida too, like you know what I mean, like you get no income tax. Go to Texas, a team in Texas, you get no income tax there. You know, a lot of these players are thinking that way, so it's hard for get players over here to the north to play for cold weather. Says we either have to overpay or make it worth their while. You know what I mean? So it's tough for some of these players that are deciding on their future that become FAs to come to any of our teams to even like as far as like the warm weather teams, they get some of the better players to get them to the Super Bowl.
I love JB's comment there. Post traumatic North stress disorder for our division. Phil, then you're not watching football if you're asking that question. I'm sorry. I mean, there's not a team in this division that's not going to be relevant. At least
I was going to say weather and taxes do have a impact on where players want to sign sometimes.
they do
100%.
100%. And we did a whole show on the jock tax last year.
Yeah, and I was going to say you could also throw on. I mean, it kind of ties into weather, but if you're playing in a dome or not. I mean, a lot of people like to play in a dome, but there's some players who they do prefer if they can get a few more games on grass. Maybe they're getting older. Maybe their knees aren't as good. The grass
Look at
is
Saquon.
more forgiving.
Saquon was looking at the Bears last year. Would you want to play at Soldier Field as bad as those field conditions are?
Yeah, I mean that's a different story.
Look at Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill chose the money and the weather. You know what I mean? Instead of playing Patrick Mahomes and winning Super Bowl championships, you know what I mean? He's like, okay, I'm going to Miami. Less taxes, better weather.
Philip, who gives a shit about last season? We're talking about this upcoming season. Living in the past.
Bill asked a question of me. I've said it since Brock Bowers was drafted. I think by the end of his second year, he'll be considered the best tight end in football. This is his second year. I expect by the end of the season, it'll be pretty much unanimous that he's the best tight end in football.
I mean, look, based off what he did last year, I can see why Joe says that. And I'm not going to say he's wrong either because, he's.
I have a hard time considering him a tight end. Like he's 6'3", 230 pounds. He's just like an offensive weapon.
Yeah, but I mean, he's officially a tight end, so I mean, I get your argument, bro. You're not wrong.
Every passing play, Gino's gonna throw it straight to Brock.
Yeah,
it don't matter if he's got like the whole team defending him.
Brock's down there somewhere.
Right?
I mean, Brock has the potential of being, one of the best tight ends the game has seen. He's technically a tight end, but like, dude, if you're a Raiders fan, that's something. Yeah, Brock is like the shining star on the side of the Death Star right now.
I think it's going to be funny because it's going to be like Bowers and Tyler Warren. Like people are going to be talking about these guys for years, and they're two completely different styles. They both bring completely different elements to the game, and so it's going to be very interesting to have a conversation for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, Jim, we're saying that no, we're not bragging about Super Bowls from 4 years ago. So once again, pay attention in class. We're saying that we've said that this division is terrible at winning Super Bowls. Like since the time we've all been born, for the most part, since 1970, the division has been to 9 Super Bowls and won 2. Okay, and the 2 that we've won were 1985 and 2010. Those are the only 2 Super Bowls this division has won in 50-plus years.
No,
Well,
there's the
1996,
what?
96 Packers.
Yeah,
Too.
Favre won
Or
in
three,
like what
yeah, 3 Super Bowls. We
96.
won 3. I'm sorry, 3. My bad. I keep forgetting Favre because, if it wasn't for Jim McMahon, he probably doesn't win that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
I was going to say, like, being the college football fan that I am, and being like a Big Ten person, seeing the Big Ten win the college football championship the last 2 years, for some reason it gives me a little bit of hope that honestly there's going to be an NFC North team that wins the Super Bowl, coming up soon. So hopefully that happens.
Bill, this is a loaded question, man. You don't know, and Isaac's going to do the same. Like, you just don't know what can of worms you just opened with Packer fans and receivers. But go ahead, Ken.
All right. Well, we're going to start with I want Tet McMillan. If we can't get him, I want the wide receiver from Ohio State. And then if both of them, I'd take Golden, but I don't know if I'd take him in the first round.
Tet doesn't watch film, right?
He doesn't watch it outside. He doesn't watch it on his own time. His whole quote for that was that he watches so much film with the coaches that he doesn't want to watch it on his spare time because he has other interests outside of football too. And we've seen multiple guys in the league that are like that have come out and been absolute stars. So that doesn't put me off from them.
Oh,
You
I
can be
mean,
stars,
if Green Bay drafts Tet McMillan, best believe he's going to be watching film. You get Adam Stenovich breathing down his neck. He's going to be like, okay, I'm going to be in the film room.
Hey, real quick, Darcy dropped a comment in the chat saying that he doesn't feel smarter watching the show. So I just wanted to point out, like, if you paid more attention to the show and less attention to your wife's bull, you might learn something.
Damn.
But I like it's a great comment, right? We had fun beating up the Bucks. So what the Bucks do? They left the division and they've already won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, maybe we should go to Joe's comment from yesterday about the Lions. Could it just be that the North is snake bit?
Possibly.
It could be, but we only got a little bit of that venom since we occasionally win shit.
And Broski, to answer your question, like for a Super Bowl, like maybe this coming season, that's not going to happen with the games that we're playing. This schedule, this schedule is brutal for all 4 of us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be, dude. This season is every week is going to be a roller coaster.
Yeah, but teams will be battle tested by the time they get to the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll be facing playoff teams throughout the schedule.
Exactly. I mean, you saw how it worked out last year with all the pretty records. Apparently, teams weren't battle tested enough. Maybe, teams will have not quite as pretty records, but they'll be better set for the playoffs.
But there's
so
some
funny.
teams that wing
Hey,
it
Mitch,
too. Like
it's like
go ahead.
you talk about how dumb the panel is and how, like, if you want to get smarter, just do believe the opposite of what we say. Yet you tune in every day.
And not just this show, all the shows.
It's
Thanks
like
for the ratings.
you love to hate us, like. And I don't have no problem going full heel, dude. Like I'll go full on wrestling heel for you too.
Hey, you know that the whole moniker is your haters are your biggest supporters. Boom.
Exactly.
So, Isaac, what you're saying is you're really a closet Bears fan?
Hell no.
Thank you for your support, Mitch.
Mitch, you provide us with so many great conversations. It's not even funny.
Let's give Mitch 100 gold stars.
I'm telling you, stars and follows. The division, man, yeah, because we get the AFC North, we get the NFC East, we get ourselves. I mean, this division schedule, I hate the whole. Well, they've got a first place schedule, they've got a fourth place schedule. To me, that doesn't mean jack nor shit.
Yeah, I'm not too hung up on this whole schedule thing.
And I hate the strength of schedule argument. It sucks. Like
it's terrible.
Strength of schedule makes the only time that argument is even close to being bona fide is once you get past the midway part of the season. You kind of know what teams are. But like this whole, oh well, their strength of schedule, looking at week 1 and beyond, like, dude, come on, you're basing off last year, and look how much teams change from year to year.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
was just going to say that actually. Like,
It,
you can't even start grading the schedule until at least like mid-season. And every
yeah,
season, I mean, there's teams that come out of that were terrible the year before that are either good or at least respectable this year, and there's teams that were you know
and
great
some
last
teams
year
that
that sucked the next year. So it's like the whole scheduling thing. To me, it's more about like how the NFL staggered your games. Like when is your bye week? Are you playing 3 games in 10 days like the Steelers did last year? Like stuff like that to me is like what sucks about scheduling. Who you
I mean,
play.
going to San Francisco, then New York, then to Seattle, then
Exactly. That type of
and
stuff.
some teams like playoff teams, they wing it during the season. They don't play as hard as they do when it comes playoff time or when the games count. Like for instance, the Chiefs. The Chiefs, last season or the season before, they were playing like shit week 1 through 8. But then when it came like into the second half and when playoffs count, you saw them blowing out teams and playing as hard as they can. You know,
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that might be the toughest division in football this year, the AFC West.
the
You start
Burrow's
breaking.
healthy.
and JB. I mean, here's what JB brings up. That supports Broski's argument and what Isaac was saying. I mean, look at every year there's a team that goes from worst to first. Every year. You listen to this panel sometimes, or just our network, or the NFC North portion of the network. We act like it can never happen. Oh, the Bears could never do it. The Lions could never do it. Minnesota could never do it. They do it. I mean,
Texans.
the Texans. I mean, so the question's going to be who's going to go from worst to first this year. One team in this league is going to, at least one, will probably
Yeah.
go from worst to first.
Yeah, but if we keep saying it, we're going to speak it into fruition that the Bears just aren't going to be the team to do it. That's why everybody's saying it.
Look, as long as they wear the orange crush jerseys, anything's possible. Okay.
Speaking of the Texans, there a little NFL news there. They extended Jalen Petrie. That's the safety I wanted. When Packers had the chance to pick him, we passed on him. Nick and I were like, "Damn, we wanted Petrie."
Look, here's a Lions fan. He sees them drop into the bottom, and I don't know if that's going to happen. But look, if it happens, if the Lions end up being in last place, it's not like they're winning 3 games. They're probably going to win 8 or 9 games and end up in last place. I think that's how this division might go. Just when you look at it early with the
Exactly,
change,
JB.
the personnel pre-draft even, right? Because all 4 of these teams aren't. No one in this division is looking at the first round going, "This is the guy who's going to make us a winning franchise," right? They're all going to be winning franchises this year. When we look at the talent level, the coaches, whatnot, we've all been saying it for a couple weeks now. Like, this is going to be a really good division. The last place might have 8 to 10 wins, right? I mean, JB's like everyone here could win 10 wins, kind of how it was last year. And we started out good when everyone was 4-2 or 5-1. Right, it was looking that way, and then the Bears had their epic fall. But I mean, that's how good this division is. So last place, you could win 8 or 9 games, which would put you in second place or maybe in first place in some other division, and be in last place in this division. So if you are a Lions fan and you hear someone on the panel say, "Well, the Lions are going to be in last place this year," that's not like they're going to win 3 games. That's like they're going to win 9 games. They're just going to be in last place because maybe they'll lose the division, the tie break with the division on their team in the division, or they're going to win 9, but everyone else is going to win 10, 11, and 12. I mean, that's seriously how this division could break out. I mean, a team getting to 12 wins, that's going to be interesting in this division with who we play this year. But I
Yeah,
mean, really, that's how this division could break out. You could have 4 teams that win 9, 10, 11, and 11, or 9, 10, 11, 12, or somewhere around there. And you're in last place with 9 wins going, "I got 9 wins. I have a winning record. What the fuck?"
that's where I see it too. I think 12 is the roof for all North Division teams this season because that's how rough our schedules are.
I mean, and look at, and here's the thing, Isaac, and and here's the thing.
I was going to say that it's that time of year.
Yeah, it's not that we're full of opium. It's just we're looking at the rosters and looking at the moves and looking at how the teams, were looking last year, at parts of the season and what changes have been made to fix the things that didn't work, and then what the schedule is like, and they're all good teams. Like the Bears really should have won 4 or 5 other games that they just kind of frittered away as we found new and interesting ways to lose last year, right? The thing when you look at this division, there might be a team that wins 13 or 14 because luck goes their way. Kind of like look at Sarah's team a couple years ago, 11 one-score games. Luck was on their side that entire season.
No,
That
it wasn't. We're good at winning one-score games.
that shit happens too. So I mean, but last place, dude, you could
Sarah,
win.
if that was true, then you guys would have been able to replicate it the next year. But instead, you regressed to the mean because, you know,
The
like
next year we didn't have a quarterback. We only had a quarterback up until week like 8, and then we had like Dobbs and Mullins.
true. But I'm just saying, like,
But it's the
there was
passion,
definitely some luck involved in winning 11 one-score games.
JB, don't you be talking about the hopium because you agree with everything that we said.
I was going to say, hey, there's a thing that's going to differentiate the Kens on here. We both are taking the hopium. Ken doesn't like to admit it, and I'm telling you, I'm sitting here freebasing this shit.
Hey, you know, one division that's going to be interesting this year, and not because like all the teams are going to be good, but just because I think the division is going to be wide open, is the NFC West. Like
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
the
And
Niners,
like,
I don't see them being what they were, and Seattle, like you know, they got Darnold, but like they have the worst offensive line in football. Like, you know, I think you're going to see Sam Darnold turn into a pumpkin again. Then you have Arizona, like, you know, Arizona's not terrible. And depending on what they do in the draft, I mean, I actually think they could make a push for the division this year. Then you have the Rams coming off the playoffs, and we'll see what they do in the draft. You know, like,
here's the thing: like they're the inverse. They're kind of like the inverse of the North, right? Like, dude, you could win 9 games and win that division, right?
I think that the NFC West is going to be just like the NFC North last year because they're playing 2 divisions that they're playing the AFC South and the NFC South. So I think their records are going to be very inflated.
Yeah, they're going to be inflated, but I still don't think their records are going to be all that great.
No, but I mean, like the NFC West, though, they're another great example, though. Like you want to talk about hopium, that's a division that could have a bunch of hopium because of a weak schedule. I mean, the Rams, Stafford's going to do Stafford things. The Keebler Elf is going to be the Keebler Elf there in Arizona. You know, I mean, they are competitive within their division for sure. All those teams have huge, like, you know, the Rams get rid of their receiving issues. Obviously, they're getting rid of receivers in that division because they've lost a lot of good ones. But I mean, that's gonna be a fun division to watch because Joe's on point. It's wide open. The North is wide open. It's just you got 4 really good teams in the North, whereas the West you have 4 mediocre-ish teams, and both divisions are gonna be a ton of fun to watch.
Rams are gonna run that division, man. It's gonna be fun watching Puka and Devontae Adams with Stafford.
I mean, they got to be the favorites early on, but I think Arizona could make a push, dude. Like Marvin Harrison is coming into his 2nd year. He didn't have like a super impressive rookie year, but like we saw what we saw. Like I think that there's real talent there, and I think he'll come into his own. And depending on what they do in the draft, if they can address some of their needs. I mean, how many games did they win last year? 8 games.
Let's do Jim's comment here.
It's not unrealistic to think that
right now the 49ers are projected to be the NFC West winner still, even though they lost half their defense, which makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, it's because the analysts are going off of like they're looking at the roster from 3 years ago and saying, oh, it's still good enough to get the Niners the division, and I don't think it is.
I like Jim's comment here. I don't know how far all the cellar the Jags go because I think the Jags were a much better team than how they were coached last year. I don't know if they hired the right head coach, Jim, but I could see them coming out of the cellar.
I can see the Pats too.
Yeah,
Patriots will come out, and
you think the Patriots
just being under Vrabel alone.
You think the Patriots are going to overtake the Bills?
No.
But
we're saying come out the cellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Patriots might be the second best team.
What were you saying there, Isaac?
I'll say Patriots might be the second best team in the division.
Yeah.
Me,
And
It's not,
Mitch,
really
I got to
unrealistic.
say for Kyler Murray, I always kind of preferred the mighty midget for him.
and actually Carolina has a decent shot at coming out of the cellar this year too, possibly.
Yeah.
I
I was
mean,
gonna say, if they can keep that momentum up from the end of last year, sure.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Tampa's definitely going to be tough this year. Carolina, like people forget, they literally let up the most rushing yards in the history of the NFL last year.
yeah, but
And
but Nola,
Atlanta's going to be a better team too with Penix in there.
Mhm.
but Nola,
Panthers have a lot of work to do. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Broski, Nola, New Orleans, they're probably going to suck this year.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
they
mean, they
are.
still have Carr. If he's healthy, he's a serviceable quarterback. I mean, he's better than Bryce.
I mean, the
That's
Panthers and
Joe's
the Saints
boy.
flip spots. I don't know, maybe, but they have a long way to go before they're a division contender. I feel.
I'm not saying they're going to contend for the division, but they might crawl out of the basement. That's what we're saying.
I think the New York Giants might crawl out of the basement, to be honest with you.
Last year we made it to the divisional round, so we made it out of the wild card round.
Hmm.
Yeah, this past season we might not have, but hey, not everything goes our way all the time.
Look, as a division, one and done all across the board for the playoffs last year. Not good luck for the division. A 15-win team, a 14-win team, and the Packers get in. Look at Packer fans last year. Give them credit. They're like, yeah, well, we probably won't win our wild card game, but hey, we're here. Dude, I'm sorry. The Vikings and the Lions, like we were thinking, oh, this is going to be a good matchup coming in the NFC Championship weekend, right? And they both laid an egg. A big
Dude, our quarterback was a bust.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't understand like this notion like that. Even I didn't believe we were gonna make it far in the
Well,
playoffs.
Sarah, but you're like the rarity amongst your fan base, though. Okay, I mean, like, dude, you had like Rob over there going, "Oh yeah, we're gonna win it all this year. We're gonna beat everyone because And then you had Darren with this Ginger Jesus, and the Ginger Jesus is gonna lead us. And if you're not in first place, you can't talk to us. You shouldn't even be allowed on the show. I mean, dude, you're the rarity, Sarah. I mean, you're that breath of fresh air in Minnesota.
Like when we signed Sam Darnold, I was just like, "Yay, we'll see how this season goes."
Well, I mean, Philip, that's just it. The basement in the North. I mean, could the Bears be in the basement? Look I said the Lions could be in the basement with 9 wins. The Bears could be in the basement with 8 or 9 wins. I mean, that's just the kind of division. So I guess what I'm trying to say, though, when you got to listen to the nuance of the comment, right? Like if you're an NFC North fan and your team is in the basement, no matter which team it is, and they've won 9 games, it's not going to be a bad season for that team.
Yeah, that might be okay and all, but I'm not going to be happy if we finish it in the basement at all.
You're not happier in the basement. I'm not saying be happier in the basement, but it's like
I'm not even going to be okay with it because I want to finish ahead of the teams in my division. That to me is like the very first part.
Well, what I'm saying is like, the mitigator here is this. If you win 9 games and you have a winning record and you end up in the basement, it's not like, oh my God, my team is dog shit. It's like, fuck, our division's good.
I actually just think that the floor for the basement is a little bit lower than 9 wins. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the team in the basement in the North gets somewhere between, ends up with 7 wins. I think that I just, I'm not going to say 5 wins, but like 7 wins is, I think, possible, But I also think 9 wins in the basement is possible too. But, I just think the floor is a little bit lower.
Yeah, it's going to be a really rough schedule.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a lot of new stuff going on. The Vikings are starting their rookie quarterback who only played in the preseason. Like, they're going to have some growing pains, dude. The Bears, like they got a brand new head coach. He's going to have to gel with Caleb, and Caleb's going to have to pick up the offense. Like, they made some moves on the offensive line. So, how many games did the Bears win last year? Like 5 or 6?
5.
Like, so, like, if they win 9 games, that's a huge improvement, right? That's a good improvement. But if they go up to 7 wins, I mean, you're still going in the right direction. Like, you
And
know,
Lions all have all new coordinators
and
all across
and
the board.
The Lions have a whole new coaching staff, so they could go from 15 wins to 8 wins. Like, you
Yeah,
don't
and
know. Like,
while they're the most stable in that realm, they have a lot of questions about, hey, was Love worth the money? What are we doing at wide receiver? I mean, does Josh Jacobs have another phenomenal season? He had a great season last year. We haven't seen Josh Jacobs run that good in 2 or 3 years. Can he do it again? There are questions in the division. Joe hits it right in the head. No doubt there are questions in this division. But at the same time, yeah, there's some good hopium to free base as well, because you look at what these
yeah.
guys have done. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, we've all taken, for the most part, steps in a positive direction. Even the Lions, yeah, you lost coaching, but you still have a shitload of talent. Hey, the
Mhm.
Vikings got a new quarterback, but you know what? The new quarterback doesn't have to be a stud. He just has to manage, like we said about Donald last year. If he can manage this team, they're going to win a lot of games. Hey, Green Bay, you don't have the wide receiver yet. However, you still got Love. If Love he's a great quarter. It's like even with the thing about Love, no one's saying he's going to be a shitty quarterback. If Love plays at the same level, which wasn't bad and is better than more than half the quarterbacks in the league, you're still going to be good. But how far can you push it, right? I mean, they're not terrible. Like, oh my God, the sky is falling questions for these teams. They've all got a lot of positivity around them.
I
But
think
if I'm looking at the
time to break out the tinfoil.
if I'm looking at the North right now, like, and I'm making predictions, the only team that I really feel comfortable about predicting is Green Bay. Like, I have no problem predicting. I think, I can see 10 wins for Green Bay. Like, I can see that, that I'm not saying that's what they're going to end up with. They could get more, but I feel like pretty comfortable saying 10 wins seems fair based on, what their question marks and all that. The other teams are a complete toss up because, like, there's so many questions. And I think the question in Minnesota is a huge question. Is JJ McCarthy, how's he going to play? Because, like, how he plays is how their team is going to go. Like, they have a great roster, but,
Well, they have a really good defense. I mean, that's going to help
They
mitigate the
yeah.
defense.
earlier on the show, Broski hit the nail on the head though. Like it's our teams are going to be battle tested once we reach the playoffs because we're going to be facing playoff teams during the season. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
we're going to be facing these tough teams and these tough questions early on before we even hit the playoffs. So I mean, the only thing that's going to hurt any team is if we get a bye again. You know what I mean? Getting a bye and going into the playoffs never is a good thing because your team gets rusty. You know what I mean? You don't have that adrenaline. You know what I mean? You have time to just cool off. Maybe go to a couple practices, not even play that hard,
Well,
watch game tape, but
well,
doesn't imitate action.
here's the other thing I want to see too with the schedule we got with the AFC North and the NFC East. So we play the Eagles, and we lose to the Eagles. Okay, let's say we all lose to the Eagles. Okay, but how close were those games? And I'm not talking about the quarter garbage scores. Like, were the first 3 quarters, like, was it a 1-score game? Was it a close game at the end? Because we see this all the time in the league. Super close game, and the fourth quarter, last half, a team just falls apart, right? How close are these games that we play? Are we getting killed by these guys? Are we killing these guys? Are they close games? If, let's say, the North would say first place wins 11 games, and if you look at the games they lose, and they're like 1-score games, like last minute field goal kind of stuff, touchdown score, in the final drive kind of stuff. Were they close games? Were they competitive? And that's going to be good for the North coming into the playoffs. I don't mind the North losing competitive games. It's when the North gets blown out, right? When we're all going into the NFC East and we're having a really tough time with these teams and can't be competitive, that's when you got a problem in this division. You don't see good divisions having those issues. Good divisions, they go in there, they're competitive. Is the North going to be competitive? I think. Good morning, Yoli. I think that Good morning, Yoli is a good segue, but no, we are going to be a competitive division, and that's what I'm looking at. Like, how competitive are we as a division? Jim, I've always
Thank you,
said
Nicholas.
good players in Detroit. The question is going to be is what's the coaching going to be like there? How's that going to affect Goff in Minnesota? How's bringing JJ in going to affect that the defense will mitigate in Chicago? We know they've got talent. They were competitive with shitty coaching. All right, now we have quote unquote better coaching. How's that going to make the Bears more competitive to win games? In Green Bay, can Jordan Love get over the hump of what that sophomore slump was? Can they put it together? Because look, they won some good nail biters. They lost some nail biters too. They're a competitive team. Can they get over that hump? That's the questions we all have to look for.
Isaac has an IRS voice.
He's
Knew
got
all
that
this
voice.
much.
I'm gonna come take your fucking house, dude.
Right?
I actually
Give me your
think that
house.
I actually think that for the Bears, the question isn't so much the coaching. I think Ben Johnson will do well there. For me, the biggest question, and this is just for me, the biggest question mark on the Bears is: did the offensive line moves that you made pan out? That's
Yeah.
going to be the biggest question.
Coaching though, because like if you look at the talent level last year, it's not that they lack decent offensive linemen. I mean that was the same offensive line that the year before was fifth or in the top 5 in rushing as a line, and then they were last year. So there's some coaching that goes with that, right? I
Mhm.
mean, coaching and personnel have to mesh, and last year's coaching did not mesh with personnel. So the question should be actually, let me tweak the question there, Joe. It's not that did they bring in the right players, that they bring in the right players are going to mesh with the new coaching.
Mhm.
Fair enough.
Because if you look at it, the teams that won teams that were in the Super Bowl had the best offensive lines. You know what I mean? Chiefs had one of the best offensive lines last year, and the Eagles had probably the best offensive line in the NFL. Period.
And a lot
I
of
think
that,
I think another question with the Bears, you guys kept blaming that the offensive line was so bad, and I'm not saying it wasn't. It was bad, but half of those sacks were not on the offensive
well,
line either. It
early
was on
on,
Caleb
Sarah, I
holding
agree.
on to the ball.
Well, Caleb, look at, and JJ's going to do the same thing. Early on with most rookies, they hold it too long. By the end of the season, Caleb was getting rid of it. But then when you look at quarterbacks like Caleb, like Love, like Goff, like these guys who can sling it, they tend to, when a play breaks down and they move out of the pocket, like Caleb's always looking to sling it versus run it, and so he'll take some sacks. Love will take some sacks that way. Big Ben used to take a lot of sacks that way. I mean, I agree
Yeah,
with
but
you.
that's because Big Ben would
It's all
stand there half the time hoping the guy just bounces off of him.
it's all about coaching for Caleb, because Caleb's been doing this since USC. You know what I mean? Where he just would take the ball and run around and try to make sure a play gets open. You know
No,
what I mean?
Bill, I
But
didn't. What was your question
Mhm.
about Sam Darnold?
Let me scroll back up and see if I can find it.
Yeah, Isaac and I have been saying this since before Caleb was drafted. We both said that's Caleb's game. Like that's the one thing that it's a double-edged sword for him, is he likes to play hero ball and hold on to the ball. Because remember, we were talking about the Fields versus Caleb debate, right? And it was Fields' his first instinct is to run when the pocket breaks down, whereas Caleb is going to hold on to the ball and he's going to stay looking downfield. But it's a double-edged sword. Like it's not new. It's not something like, Caleb,
And
this is part of his game.
it's part
Bill,
of his game,
read
yeah.
the question, Bill. For whatever reason, that question didn't come through on my end.
Yeah, it's just, Caleb studied Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was his favorite quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers would do that all the time. Will hold on to the ball too long, kind of escape the pocket, look downfield, scan, and throw. You know what I
I mean,
mean?
it's only
Caleb.
right that he looks up to his daddy.
I mean, look at Caleb. If you look at Caleb early in the season versus the end of the season, he got a lot better of throwing the ball away, and that's something that rookies go through. I mean, they do go through that. The question is going to be how many sacks does he take? And he took 1 or 2 sacks that may have cost the Bears a game too. That's rookie error. So I mean, I kind of expected that.
Yeah, another thing with Caleb this year, a whole new wrinkle to his game. He's gonna have to learn how to play under center. So that's gonna be huge. That's a new thing for him. So Ben
Let me
Johnson, Jared Goff was like the number 1 quarterback under center, play action quarterback in the league last year.
let me ask the Bear fans this: could DJ Moore throw a football? He's going to learn this year under Ben
Yeah, well, I
Johnson's
mean,
offense.
Keenan Allen tried it last year, but yeah, I mean, I think there'll be some. Hey, you know what though? Look, if we go draft a certain tight end, I think that tight end might end up throwing the football.
Hey, it might be Toomey. Toomey might throw a football.
I mean, I want to know what offensive lineman is going to report to be the new Dan Skipper.
I think what Ben Johnson needs to do is set Cole Kmet free. Cole Kmet's been blocking for the team for so long that he gets, overshadowed being a, receiver. It just, if you could free Cole Kmet instead of blocking all the time, then it opens up a lot in that offense.
Well, Isaac, like, look at the
Did you
games
guys
where
have a lineman last season that forgot to report and got a touchdown taken away against us on the Monday night game?
Yeah, I remember that game. I can't remember who it was though. But Isaac, here's the thing about Komet. Look at the games where they use Komet to throw the ball, and that's why he got the big contract. We see it. The frustration I have as a Bears fan, and Broski probably would agree with this, is that we don't use Komet. Like we don't, and it's mind-boggling because you see what you get when you use Komet. Like he puts up great catches, great numbers, scores touchdowns. You're like, why aren't you throwing this dude the ball more?
Well, you
And,
ain't using him as much because he's blocking all the time. You know what I mean? Like it's.
yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you, Nick. Enjoy.
Thank you, Nick.
Like if you can do those slip screens and you can do, those slants that kind of Laporta runs, and Komet would be a huge weapon. You know
Well,
what I mean? But like
that's
he's
why I
just
want.
blocking all the time.
Well, that's why I wanted to draft Warren in a way. I'd love to have Warren and Komet because the possibilities there are endless.
Yeah.
Man, you're starting to sound like Matt LaFleur fucking advocating for a 2 tight end system.
Sure, because it works. Why not? It works.
Uh-huh.
No, but he was a former bust that everybody laughed at the Vikings for signing. So let's not act like he was like this veteran quarterback who had a career coming
Yes.
into Minnesota.
Yeah, all the way up until he came to Minnesota, just about everybody would agree that he was a bust. And
Yeah.
that's why they were able to get him for $10 million a year.
He had a breakthrough season. No doubt. But
Well,
how
like I
much
said, I mean, he was in a system that was set up for him to succeed, and if he couldn't succeed with us, then he just wasn't good enough. The same with McCarthy. McCarthy is in a system where he is set up to succeed, and if
Yep.
he doesn't, then he's just not good enough. And we go back to the draft and draft another quarterback.
Look at JJ's gonna have growing pains, right? He's gonna hold the ball too long. He's gonna run the wrong way. He's gonna miss reads. Those are rookie things.
And we're fine with that, knowing that he's a first-year starter, But it's like we are taking that chance because it's like we're gonna have to play him regardless of when. So we might as well start now and see what he's gonna be in a couple of years before we have to give him this massive contract. I mean, by the time these quarterbacks from the 2024 draft get a contract, those contracts are gonna be humongous.
And on that take, don't forget to watch the Packer Boys tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 on the East. Don't forget tomorrow we got the open mic, and we got Sunday we have Red Zone Rant, and we'll have Hal's Hall Report at 11 a.m. Sunday morning, and we will be back on Monday morning. Hoping you all have a wonderful weekend. Go get some sun. Go hit those pools. Go hit the beach. Well, at least if you're in Florida. Everyone, have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.
Go Pack, go.
Packers suck. Go Bears.
This is a Huddle Sports Network.